Hello and welcome to Soccer Yanks with Dave and Dan, a Soccer News Day podcast, bringing you the beautiful game from the American perspective. Today, we are without Dave, unfortunately, 2 weeks in a row. Dave is really upset that he can't make it, but that is life. I have another special guest today, though. You may know him as Rescinded Red if you read our blog. If you don't, his name is Jay, and Jay has a pretty regular basis column on the blog that focuses on Major League Soccer, U.S. Men's National Team, and other domestic soccer issues. Say hello to everybody, Jay.
Hello, world. This is the sound of my voice.
So although Jay focuses his writing on domestic issues, he is a fan, a connoisseur of the beautiful game of football. So he's going to be able to dive right in, and we're going to go right to the FA Cup. And this last weekend, I think I could sum it up pretty quickly. Revenge, tie my laces. Arsenal took on Liverpool at the Emirates, and they handed them a 2-1 loss. Kicked them out of the FA Cup, but it was very controversial. The controversy lies in Howard Webb and some of the decisions he made. I'll lay them all out and then we'll talk about it. To begin off, the beginning of the game, he was trying to. The game was pretty aggressive game from both sides of the field. He threw out a bunch of yellow cards to try to calm things down. I think there was 5. I can't quote me. I think there was 5 yellows thrown out in the first half. Then Lucas Podolski kind of, he kicks Luis Suarez. It was very soft. It wasn't. I don't think it was ankle shattering, although Lucas Podolski is a monster. Suarez goes down. Howard Webb points to the spot. This is in the second half, by the way. I'm sorry, a little time chronologically order. It's the second half, and Arsenal is up 2-0. Gerrard steps up to the spot, nails it. Now it's a game. It's 2-1. The game goes on. Gerrard is playing super aggressively. He's got a really, really nasty challenge down on their defensive end that, in a lot of people's minds, should have been a second yellow for him, and he should have been sent off. Howard just gave the foul. Later on, the game proceeds. Still pretty aggressive. Liverpool is pushing. They're still losing 2-1. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain nails Luis Suarez inside the box. But Luis Suarez, because he was trying to win the penalty, proceeded to flop like a dead fish. Now, if he had gone, I'm not sure if it would have changed Webb's mind, but the way he went down looked like sniper got him. It was bad. No penalty awarded. Play continued, and Arsenal went on to seal the game off 2-1. Jay, let's go right to the first penalty. Was that a penalty?
It was a penalty, and here's the thing, and I think this is the difference. I remember looking at both penalties and thinking to myself, the Chamberlain penalty had a purpose. Our Chamberlain action had a purpose to it, whereas in Podolski, just didn't belong there. He didn't belong to be on the opposite side, on the left side of Suarez. He should have been either trying to trap him in front or just not even touch him. I just thought because it was such a poor decision on Podolski that it was almost like teaching him a lesson by giving him a card or by giving him a penalty kick.
I agree. He kicked him and he was almost behind him. Podolski was completely. He was unnerving the move. He shouldn't have done it, and you could see why a penalty was awarded.
Yeah, I think it was, and I don't think that's good reffing, and I don't think that's, at least at this level. I mean, maybe at the younger level you want to say a ref could teach a lesson, but it was a foul, yeah. Was it soft? Yes. But I think when Webb did it, compared to the other fouls in the game, I think when Webb did it, it was just kind of like, how stupid can you be? I'm going to show you a lesson for doing something that's completely, you just had no reason to do. Unlike the Chamberlain, which at least he was going for the ball, at least there was a purpose to his movement. There was no purpose to swiping at the ball as far as his legs.
I agree. I mean, there was a bit of, how dare you challenge Howard Webb. But also, comparing the two penalties, I mean, I have a couple of things on this. Comparing the two penalties, Webb's line of sight was significantly better for the first one. In essence, where he saw Suarez in the ball and he saw Podolski behind him kick. For the Chamberlain foul on Suarez, Webb was behind Suarez and Chamberlain was in front of Suarez. And Chamberlain was in front of him. So Webb didn't really see the contact. He just saw Suarez go down. And it could have, and from that angle, it's very possible that he believed that Chamberlain got the ball and made contact, but got the ball, and Suarez then decided to take a flop. I mean, was this a bit of a case of Suarez's reputation crushing him?
I think it was Suarez's reputation crushing him. And I think, again, Chamberlain was going for the ball. There was a purpose to the movement. He was trying to step in front of Suarez. It wasn't an idiotic play. It wasn't a poor soccer play. It just was a hard challenge and bad timing. And maybe Webb saw that and didn't see him not touching the ball at all, but just made the assumption because it was essentially the proper play, he let it go.
It looked like it was part of right. So it looked like it was part of the flow of the game.
Right.
It almost looked like it was appropriate. And I mean, it was a foul. It was a penalty. Now we kind of skipped over the Gerrard foul, and I want to make a point that Liverpool. I mean, Arsenal was aggressive, but Liverpool, between Skrtel and Agger, they were killing Sonogo. I mean, every chance they got, every header, they were on his shoulders, they were hitting him in the head. I mean, it was pretty rough out there. And I'm not sure if Sonogo was getting I don't want to say rookie because, I mean, I don't know how it is. I'm not sure how it is in the European leagues or, there is the designation of rookie or new guy, kind of letting you know, like, welcome to the Premier League. I don't know if that was going on and Webb almost kind of allowed it. I don't know if there's a fraternity there of how things are supposed to be, but they were killing him. And Gerrard, there's sometimes that Gerrard and Suarez, both of them, I have such peaks and valleys. There's times where both these guys win me over, and I'm like, wow, they're so amazing. Suarez this season was building up to me like, this guy is incredible. He makes things happen. He's fighting so hard. He wants to win, and I understand the winning at all costs, and I understand where how that goes negative. But when he puts on such an over-the-top theatrical performance, it's just like, well, no, back to square one for me. And on Gerrard's side, I've seen him do this in the past, but he was so unsportsman the entire match. I mean, cheap shots after cheap shots after cheap shots, and he had the benefit the other way, I think, because he's Steven Gerrard, he didn't get sent off. And that's how I kind of feel like at the end of the day, Webb was bad all across both sides, and the match played out the way it is, and everyone got a bad ref.
Yeah, I mean, for Sonogo, it's clear that he didn't get any calls because he didn't earn that benefit for getting calls. Now, is that fair? No, of course it's not fair. And unfortunately, because things aren't cut and dry, like the ball went over the line or the ball didn't, and interpretation is a large part of the rules. Maybe he didn't feel like he was in the right position sometimes. Maybe he felt like he was, whatever it was, whatever excuse he has. It's essentially a rookie not getting fouled or a young guy not getting the fouls and a veteran getting the benefit of the doubt when it comes to Steven Gerrard's case.
Right. Okay, so the match is over. Arsenal is advanced. Liverpool's out. Let's just talk real briefly. For Arsenal, I'm not going to rule them out of winning the title yet because they are sitting in a very dangerous position to still take the top again. But is the FA Cup probably their best chance at silverware, odds-wise?
Depending on the way the rest of it goes, I would say yes. I just think.
I mean, they have Everton. They have Everton next, and the only other big club that is scary is Manchester City that's left. The other clubs are all championship. I think they're championship. I'm not even sure if they're all championship teams. There's Hull. I'm sorry, Hull's still in it too, but I wouldn't be scared of Hull. Both of the Sheffields, Wigan. I mean, nothing too scary. outside of City and Everton?
It depends if City wants to go for the, they might legitimately want to go for the quadruple if it's possible. But I mean, after the Barca game, who knows if that's even on their mind? They might just go full out for the FA Cup. But in a one-game scenario for Arsenal, or rather than in campaign, it's more reasonable to try to get the silverware with the FA Cup because I mean, the way the season's kind of panning out, it might just be one bad result might just do you in.
No, I agree. No, I agree. It's going to come down to the wire. Now, for Liverpool's sake, they're out of the FA Cup. They only have, I would say, probably 14, 15 top players right now. So their depth is probably in question. They don't have Europe. They don't have Capital One Cup. They don't have Europa League. They have nothing but the league. They're in fourth place. 4 points out of first, I believe. Very dangerous spot. With only one thing on their mind now.
Yeah, it's to hold their fourth place finish, and do you think Brendan Rodgers is ready to take that step up? Do you think he's ready to get his guys, even with that lack of depth, to believe that they can not only compete but to win every single game? That's probably what they're going to have to do.
I think that Liverpool is a great team going forward. I think they're very dangerous, but I still think that the pressure. I don't think outside of let's see. No, I mean, has Suarez ever won anything? Did he win anything at Ajax? I'm not sure. I know Gerrard has won the Champions League. He's felt the pressure cooker of winning a major title. I think the rest of this team is too young. I think that they will buckle, even if they make it to second place, first place, and they're up there at one point. I'm not sure they can handle the stress just yet. I'm not saying that this team is. I have a feeling that Brendan Rodgers is setting up a club that's going to be successful for quite some time. They're in a I would say toddler stage, or maybe adolescent stage. A few more years of him and him adding talent that he's got an eye for and implementing his system that's been working, they're going to be very dangerous. I'm not sure that they have the experience right now psychologically to keep it up. They do have some advantages. They have a lot of home matches against the top sides. But I don't think that they have the je ne sais quoi. The gusto to take it right now.
No, yeah, I mean, they've been playing from behind most of the season, and I think for them to just be in that top four is a coup. I think next year it's a different story, but I think this year it's Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City race.
Next year you move the goalposts, right? You make fourth. Next year we get second or better. Win a title, win a FA Cup, win a Capital One Cup. You move the goalposts every season. That's something as an Arsenal supporter that sometimes I keep forgetting that how much we struggled in the past and where we are today. I move the goalposts mid-season. I want to win the whole thing. But you know what? We're doing much better than we were in the last 3-4 seasons.
It's a different Arsenal team that you have. It's more. I mean, there's holes on that left side of that defense that is just gaping.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. I promise you. Let's move forward a little bit. I could talk Arsenal all night, and this is not necessarily an Arsenal podcast. That's why I keep bringing on guests, so I don't just rant for 20 minutes about for Arsenal. Champions League started up again after a little hiatus from the group stages. Yesterday, I mean, this has been basically the last 4 or 5 days have been a lot of questionable calls, or if not questionable calls, at least calls that have decided the game. Yesterday, Manchester City hosted Barcelona, the quote-unquote worst Barcelona team of the recent era, according to Mourinho. Thank you very much for your intelligent insight. I think he said that actually more as a psychological thing for Man City than actually a dig at Barcelona. But that's neither here nor there. So My favorite whipping boy, DeMichelis. I don't know how this guy plays at top clubs. I think he's over the hill by maybe 3, 4, 5 seasons already. He was burned by Messi, and instead of, and I know that when you're in the middle of a game, you sometimes make, instant decisions. And I think maybe he thought he could slide and get the ball. In hindsight, it would have been better to let Messi go and shoot on goal. Maybe Hart makes a save, maybe Messi scores, but you have 11 men, and you fight. You live to fight another day. DeMichelis goes to ground, doesn't get the ball, gets Messi. Messi goes down, red card, penalty kick. Now the spot of the penalty kick is in question. Maybe it should have been outside the box, and it should have been a free kick. But DeMichelis gave the referee a situation to make that decision. He placed all the power in the referee's hands by going to ground and making contact on Messi in that fashion. I mean, is it harsh, the penalty and the red card?
The red card, no. He denied a clear goal-scoring opportunity on Messi. That's without question. Now, the penalty, yeah, I think the ref actually wasn't watching that over again. He wasn't at the best angle, but I think, again, because he clearly took away a goal-scoring opportunity, and it was so close, the ref kind of had to make a call, and I don't know, watching the replay, he probably made the right call, but I clearly don't think the ref would have saw it. But I think he was in that position where he had the opportunity to make the call, just because of again, the foolish play of taking out a clear goal-scoring opportunity.
Now, I can't quote the rule book. I have a pretty good handle on the rules. I've heard today something about progression of the foul. I've never in my life seen a referee spot a foul in soccer further up the pitch. It's almost always inevitably further back, at the initial contact. It just seems to be that way. I'm not saying that that's the rule or not the rule. Now, I know the angle, like you had said, the ref's angle was a little poor. I mean, are you splitting hairs here on it's in the box or it's not in the box?
Yeah, I think we're splitting hairs. I think it finished in the box. I think it began outside the box. But again, I think it was such a foolish play, or such a desperate play, that you allowed the ref to kind of tilt it in Barcelona's favor.
Now, let's take the penalty kick off the table. Let's say it didn't happen. They got a free kick. They missed a free kick. Manchester City's down to 10 men. Was this scoreline almost inevitable?
I thought Man City played like they were on the road. I haven't seen Man City play that defensive in a while. Where legitimately they had 4 guys back on the ball at all times.
Well, they played with one player up top, which is, not what they've done all season.
And they still got opportunities. And Barcelona had to do a lot of emergency defending. Early in the game, late in the game, they were getting behind Barcelona. This wasn't a team that you were used to. You're not used to them playing back. They're not used to them only sending 2 or 3 guys. But I don't think Man City had enough to win that game. I thought they were just trying to survive.
They were just trying to keep the damage control. 1-0, let's just keep it at that kind of thing. I mean, I thought City looked pretty dangerous on the
1-0,
counter.
Maybe get back some. We're trying to resist this game way back in 2 weeks and see if they can get reinforcements, see if they can get Kun Aguero coming back, seeing if they can get a little healthier and possibly steal one to Barcelona. But I think now being 2-0, it's almost, I don't want to say insurmountable, but it's going to be a pretty difficult situation for them.
It's hard to go into Camp Nou and get a score line. I mean, ask Real Madrid. It's not an easy place to go to for anybody, let alone somebody that's now need to overcome a 2-0 deficit. So the other match that day was PSG blowing Leverkusen out of the water 4-0. Zlatan monster. let's move on.
It was just Zlatan doing Zlatan things.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was pretty incredible. Leverkusen, I think, is kind of hurting. I think I forget the name of the guy's name. They lost one of their players recently for the season, I believe. They're I don't think they're focused on Champions League. I think they're focused on the league. But I think PSG's got this in the bag. 4-0. I don't think we need to even go much deeper into that. This afternoon, near and dear to my heart, Arsenal hosted Bayern Munich in basically a replay of last season's Champions League. And the opening 35 minutes was probably the best football I've seen two clubs play. Or maybe let's say not best football. Most exciting football that two clubs have played in 12 months, 2 years. I haven't seen two teams go at it and excite me more. I mean, my heart was at was in my throat. Each team had I think 2 chances on goal in the first 35 minutes. Both keepers made brilliant saves, and then each team had a missed penalty kick. Now, another controversial call. Aaron Robben gets played in. I forget who sent the ball. Let's see. Not important. Aaron Robben gets I think it was Lam actually. Gets played in one-on-one with Chesney. Robben has an ugly first kick with his boot at Chesney's eyeball. And Chesney does everything he can in his power to avoid colliding with the guy that looks like he's 45 years old, Robben. And he hits him in the leg. Robben goes down like someone shattered his shin in half. Penalty awarded. Red card awarded. It crushed the spirit of Arsenal. Fortunately, at that point, thinking they missed that penalty, but several minutes before, Kieran Gibbs on the left side pulls a hamstring. They got to sub him out for Monreal. Now you lose your goalkeeper. You got to use your second sub. Fabianski comes in. Now you're looking at 10 men and 1 sub. You're up against the wall. The score line ended up being 2-0. It was almost inevitable. Arsenal put up a un-Arsenal-like performance. It was super defensive, and I think they did very well. They had 2 lapses of judgment to allow the 2 goals. Well, excuse me. Yeah, the first goal wasn't so much of a lap of judgment. Kroos had some space. I think Jack Wilshere should have closed him down. Should have been closer to him to close him down. But Kroos put a laser into the upper right corner of the goal. It was an incredible goal. Incredible. Actually, it was a curler. It wasn't a laser. They had a little bit of a curl to it. The second goal was very naive from Arsenal. They had a free kick. They had pushed Koscielny up to try to get on the end of the free kick with 3 minutes left in the match. The free kick gets broken up, and on the counter, Flamini's back in coverage. Arsenal gets back pretty fast. There's a lot of guys there. Mertesacker's pulled out of the play, and then Thomas Muller sneaks in behind him, and it was Flamini's man, and he just puts a nice little header in. The second goal really may have been the nail in the coffin for Arsenal, but it was two lapses that really cost them the game. I think that they put in a tremendous effort trying to hold back this Bayern Munich team. But Ian Dark on Twitter put, it's hard to say anything about this game because after the questionable red card, it became attack versus defense training. That's what it was. It was a training match. It was one player more on the attack versus the defense. It killed the game. That red card killed the game. So I ask you, Jay, was the red card harsh?
Well, Chesney didn't think so. He, for what it looks of it, and for what I saw, he just knew it was coming. He accepted it and just walked off. Now, Wenger was livid, but I think Chesney just understood that it was coming. I don't think he had an opportunity to do anything different.
Can I just interject very quickly?
Sure.
I'll let you keep going, but I just want to interject here. When he was walking down the tunnel, they caught him on camera giving the ref the wanker, giving the jerk off. So I think Chesney was just being professional. He saw the red card. He knows he can argue all he wants. The red card's come out of the pocket. It's never going back in.
Right.
So he just walked off.
Well, I guess that in hindsight changes the opinion. But you know, it's the question is does Chesney stand up and try to play the ball and get a boot to the chest and maybe he gets a card in his favor, or does he try to, because he didn't play the ball. He kind of went into the plant leg.
Well,
It was
no, it's
very
because
difficult.
if you
Maybe not.
sorry, go on.
I say maybe it's not a red card, but I think it is a penalty in that situation.
Okay, I will concede. I will concede that he made contact with a player that potentially could have scrambled to get that ball back. But the red card was harsh. And when you rewatch it, Robin's first touch is ugly. I mean, that first touch put the ball completely way left of the goal. He wasn't getting that. That was it. The play was dead if Chesney never made contact with him. I don't think Robin would have scrambled to get the ball. But I understand you're making a snap decision. Snap judgment at that point. The penalty, I think, is fair, but I think I think you're getting in double jeopardy here. I think the red card was over the top. There was no violent conduct. Okay, yeah, was it a clear scoring opportunity? I'm going to say that no, because that first touch was so ugly. I'm going to say that no, that Robin himself killed his own scoring opportunity. And I think at the same time, you're watching this match go on. This referee was a little old school. He was letting it get really. It was a pretty rough game the first 20, 30 minutes. There was some pushing and shoving out there. So, I mean, I feel like you let the players build up to a certain degree, and then you punish them for what you've been allowing. I think it's not kosher.
But I think as a ref you don't concern yourself with the skill of the player or the skill of the touch. You concern yourself with the fact that that player got to the ball or has the ability to get to the ball. So in that case, even because he touched the ball, regardless if he had the capacity to control it or controlled it well, because he touched the ball and he was essentially taken out, I think the yellow card and the penalty kick was there. No, but I don't think the red card was. I don't think it was a red card.
Because when you put all the pieces together, knowing that they missed the penalty, because you try to rewrite history and go, well, if they had only given a red card and then they missed that penalty, then we would have been in a different situation. But if he only gave the yellow, Chesney would have been in goal. Who knows if Alaba would have gone the same direction? You know what I mean? So I think we would have seen a totally different match. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. Arsenal got beaten 2-0. Now, last season they lost this leg 3-1. And then they went to Bayern. They went to the Allianz Arena and they beat them. They were the first English team to beat them at their home, and I think the first team to beat them in a long, long time at that point. They beat them 2-0. If Arsenal can kind of watch the tape, relive the miracle, after watching the first 35 minutes, I didn't believe that Bayern was unbeatable. I mean, I know that they're the best in the world, but I think they're beatable. I mean, Manchester City beat them. Am I crazy talking, Jay?
You got to remember they were on the road, Byron. You got to remember that they haven't played in a while, that they're probably rusty. They had the whole winter break off, so it's probably not the same. They're probably not at full gear as Arsenal is. But I don't think it's insurmountable. And I also want to remind you, the last team to beat Bayern in Bayern was Norwich back in, I believe it was 86.
No, it was Arsenal, man. Actually, it was Manchester City, I think, that beat them there.
Oh, I mean, the last team before Arsenal.
Oh, before Arsenal. Okay.
No, last team before Arsenal was Norwich.
Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. The last team prior to Arsenal was Norwich. So there you go, a little Canary fact. Canary fact. Jay's a Canary fan. I don't know if we haven't really mentioned that, but I mean, do you want to talk? Do you want to talk about the Canaries? How you feel about them right now? Is Houghton on the way out?
If you want to know how I feel, you can check out my Twitter feed the last couple of weeks.
Okay, never mind. We'll leave it alone. So Champions League, the other match I didn't get a chance to see. It happened today, so I now. The other match was Milan and Atletico Madrid. Madrid snuck in a goal, I think, at the end by Diego Costa. So we got some more Champions League next week. But I wanted since I got you here, since I have you on the podcast, I wanted to talk a little MLS. And I want if you could maybe shed a little light for us on what's going on up in Toronto. Give us a little summary and what's kind of bugging us a little bit about what Toronto's doing lately.
Well, Toronto is I mean, obviously they're making big moves. They're what, $100 million they put together for the total contract of Jermaine Defoe and Michael Bradley this offseason. Plus they got their other DP, Gilberto from Brazil.
Brazil. Yep.
Brazil, yeah, the Portugalos.
Portuguesa, I think.
Portuguese, right, yes. I have an awful Portuguese accent. So, I mean, they're spending a lot of money. They're essentially clearing out a lot of the teams, clearing out a lot of the players, getting rid of guys. They got rid of some guys to the Red Bulls. They're making moves. Actually, late last season, they were making a lot of moves too, moving out guys, bringing in guys. Went full youth. Almost as if they kind of knew in advance that they were going to go make big splashes this offseason, which, from what the last season was, I don't blame them. They really had nothing at all to really hold their hats on last season. But what's kind of getting a lot of people's attention is what's happening in terms of the new arrival of Juan Caesar and the fourth DP that's on their book, which is Labo, which is another, I think it's from Argentine juniors. He was brought in last season, played 16 games, 1 goal. He's a 22-year-old defensive midfielder. They say they want to keep him, which doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense since they have a defensive midfielder named Michael Bradley they just brought in.
I think they're going to push him further up the field.
I guess if they want him in that playmaker mold. The problem is with that, Ryan Nelson just doesn't seem to know how to coach offense and coach attack. The defense didn't look atrocious last season for Toronto, but Ryan Nelson has no idea what he's doing when it comes to offense.
He's got to bring in a specialist coach.
He has to do something. He could coach him well in the back, but that midfield just looked completely lost. And essentially, they were playing like 1980 style English football, just going down the line hard and sending in crosses that were going to nobody. So yeah, they might want Bradley up front, but now the question is, what are they going to do with these with Caesar? Which
they have 4 DPs on the books, which they got to figure out by March 1st, and they just brought on a goalkeeper that makes $6 million a year.
Well, here's the thing: we don't know what they're paying or what they pay QPR. We don't know if they paid him a transfer fee. We don't know if they agreed that they're only going to pay maybe $100,000 a year of a salary. Thinking about this, and they could probably do $100,000 a year thinking about the cap. But QPR is essentially getting nothing out of Caesar. He's not playing for them. They can't sell him now because the window's over. So maybe anything they can get out of him is almost a bonus. So if they can get $100,000 out of a year plus a small transfer fee, which MLS would pay for, not TFC, it would work. But again, we don't know all the details.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think this? Well, I think there's 2 things that may have. No, actually, one thing. Was this facilitated because of Nelson's connections to QPR?
I think so.
Probably, right? I don't think Philip Scolari called up QPR in Toronto and said, "Hey, get my goalie a starting job." I don't think they care, right? It was Nelson that made it happen.
Right, and I think maybe I don't think Scolari's going to pay attention, but I do think that the number of players coming in from Europe to the MLS to get playing time for the World Cup, it makes it more palatable.
So you mean it makes more palatable that Cesar's coming because he's going to be a World Cup keeper? So
Yes.
what's good for the league is good for the league. Period.
Right. Right. It's a World Cup keeper. I mean, listen, the Peruvian keeper plays for Dallas, Fernandez, and Peruvians come wearing Peruvian jerseys to every game that Dallas plays on the road. So, and you're going to get the same thing with the Brazilian fans.
That's true. That is true. We're like, you can't lift a rock without finding 4 Brazilians.
Right. You guys are
So
virtuous.
wait. So exactly. So wait a second. So explain to me, what do you think their options are with this 4th DP?
Now, here's the thing, and it's one of those, I guess, how are we going to put this? It was a rule put in 2 years ago, I believe, 2 seasons ago. It's a young designated player rule, which is they're getting, so it's like almost like international homegrown player. So they only pay him $200,000 a year when they picked him up at age 21 last season. They're not paying him an excessive amount of money. They can probably move him out of that young DP role and just pay him the $200,000 if they move the cap around a little bit, maybe even offer him an extra year and lower the contract a little bit. So they have options with him.
So wait a second. Just for clarity, and when I say clarity, I mean just so I can understand the ambiguity, the mystery behind Major League Soccer rules. Did he come on half season, or did he? I don't know. I mean, I don't know the details on this guy. Did he come in half season, or was he a full season there? At 200.
His first game was in May of last season. He played 16 games, I believe. He scored 1 goal, no assist. But he was a defensive midfielder, so the goals and assists.
Well, the goal, right? So that's probably a full year cap hit, not a half year cap hit.
Right.
Because I know, like, if you bring in a DP in the summer, only half their salary will hit the cap, kind of thing.
Right. But anybody anybody under the age of 20 who is in a young designated player category only receives $150,000 a year, and anybody between 21 and 23 receives $200,000 a year salary. So he's not a full-fledged DP, and he's not making full DP money. So they could, in essence, keep him.
So you're telling me that because the reason why we're a little bit, I mean, this is kind of a big topic right now, but one of the other reasons that it's in the forefront for me is one of our new contributors, Cole White. He wrote an article this week about this whole thing, and one of the issues that was brought up is they have a 4th DP. They're going to have to get rid of this guy because they're not allowed to renegotiate him out of DP status. But what you're telling me is that he's not really a DP as we understand DP. He is some sort of hybrid Adidas Olympic development young DP that I've never heard of. So this is strange, and this is very MLS to me.
I mean, it happened 2 years ago. There's several teams who have one. Probably the most popular one is El Cubo, Eric Torres from Chivas, who fits in that same category. It's essentially. Now, I don't know if it is actually going to be Here's the thing that happened this week. Conspiracy theory. Have your tinfoil hat there ready.
I got it.
Okay. So Montreal, I can't remember his name. I'm sorry right now. I have it up. But Montreal just picked up a guy on special discovery from Uruguay, and he would essentially fit the same specifications as a young designated player would fit. It's a young player that no one knows about from South America, from outside the United States, outside of Canada, who is brought in. He's probably getting paid a little bit more money than everybody else. He's going to probably get paid more money than a homegrown player, but is now special discovery. I wouldn't be surprised if they switch over the 4th DP to the special discovery status.
Huh. This is I can't wait for March 1st to figure out how they connive this.
I mean,
let me ask you a question. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Their GM, their new GM. I can't say his last name because it's like 15 letters long.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try either. We're just call him Timmy.
Yeah, Timmy. Young Timmy.
There's
Young,
Timmy Lilicki and there's young Timmy.
okay, young Timmy, he spent his formative years doing contracts for Major League Soccer, correct?
Yes.
So they basically brought in a cap contract loophole rule mastermind.
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Why Toronto is getting away with the thing I think that irks me is that, and not that there's any love lost for Philadelphia, because I could care less what Philadelphia does, but Maurice Edu was not, for whatever reason, Major League Soccer did not believe that they needed to assist the union in his acquisition, and they basically blocked his potential, I think, the potential DP status. If I'm not, please correct me if I'm wrong, but they essentially said, you know what, union, if you want them, you're not going to get our help. You do what you got to do. You got to make them fit into the rules. Whereas, now with Cesar and with all these other, with young DP, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're actually helping them with the young DP. At least it has the appearance that there's some preferential treatment going on here. And I know that Major League Soccer is a single entity, and they're maybe concentrating on a specific market right now, but it's still, if we're going to run a competitive league and we want parity, and that's the reason for the cap and all this other stuff, all this smoke and mirrors, Wizard of Oz behind the magic curtain nonsense really diminishes the idea that we're watching competitive teams play against each other.
I mean, that's the most difficult things for fans to digest. And, just one correction. Adu is a DP. They just didn't want him at whatever the amount. I think it was like about $1 million a year, $2 million a year. He's only making, I think it was $400,000 a year.
Okay, so they chopped him at the legs. They said we were not going to pay that much for him.
Right.
I'm going to make a bold prediction right here, right now. Adu's going to have a bigger impact this season than Bradley.
That defense in Philadelphia is pretty good. They have two young keepers. I mean, they got the number one pick in Blake, and Mack is not awful. Zach Mack is not awful. He was a good ball stopper. Wasn't great command in the box, but Philly's not they're a team that was hovering around the middle, and they might just be one or two pieces away from being a playoff team.
There you go. I cut you off, though. You're telling me you were gonna tell me what fans have a tough time swallowing as far as the league.
I mean, they just have a tough time swallowing. They don't know what the rules are. I mean, we want to know so much more. We want so much more consumption. We want so much more information. We want to know the rules and what our teams are possible for. And when you change it like this, and you add on the extra part that if you put up a new stadium, you're probably paying taxes for that new stadium too. There's no, to me, transparency. There's no fairness within supporting these clubs. And why are you going to put out your money if you think the game is fixed?
Where if it's not fixed, at least if it's not fixed, it's a carnival, it's a sideshow. It's not, it's guys behind the scenes trying to manipulate markets and trying to boost the marketing of the league versus focusing on putting a great product versus having each individual club put their effort into putting a great product on the field, which, I guess it's supply side economics or whatever you want to call it. We put a good product on the field and everything else will fall into place, is what a lot of the fans believe. I don't think the league believes that necessarily. I think that there's other things that they want to do to boost the league. They're not, if they were so concerned with the product, wouldn't they raise the cap a little bit faster than they've been raising it?
Well, the cap's already predetermined in the collective bargaining that was signed. I think it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It was already predetermined. So
it was effective 2010. It probably was put into agreed upon a year before or 6 months before.
That was just barely agreed upon. They almost went into.
Oh, they were going to go on strike?
Yeah.
My memory is shot. So, Major League Soccer still a mystery. But we still watch it. We still want it to succeed. Let's see. The next CBA might destroy they might get rid of the CBA entirety and see what happens, right? Revolution.
You know what? A lot of owners are connected to other franchises in this country and other franchises in North America, and they want something that they're comfortable with, and they want something that they understand. May it be the NFL system or the NBA or NHL system. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have something that's mirroring more domestically than internationally.
If I had to guess, we're going to see something that's going to be different than the rest of the world. It's just they're trying to make it fit in North America. I mean, the owners know what they know. You know, you're not going to get them to buy into a system that they don't feel comfortable with or they don't know. And on that note, we'll wrap it up. Thank you very much for coming on tonight, Jay.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Anytime, the floor is always open for you. I think we're going to try to focus. We're going to try to focus to have you on maybe once a month to discuss some domestic issues, domestic topics. Some good old MLS is coming up. Right, starts next week, 2 weeks.
It starts the first or second weekend of March.
If somebody wants to send you a hate tweet, where do they send it?
At Rescinded Red.
And you could check on the blog. He's got I don't know how many countless columns. They're timeless. They're timeless. They're not all. You know, you can go back in time and read a few of them. They're good. Thank you everyone for listening. You can find us at socceryanks.com. I am Soccer Yank Dan. It is right there on the screen, at Soccer Yank Dan on Twitter. Shoot me an email if you want to talk to me, socceryankdan@gmail.com. If you like this podcast, tell your friends about it. If you don't like this podcast, why are you still listening? Don't tell your friends about it. But if you do like this podcast and you use iTunes or you use Stitcher, there's a little rate and comment section. You know, give us your thoughts. You know, we want to know. We want to know what you feel. If you can't stand my voice, again, why are you still listening? We've done this for a year. Why are you still here? I'm just kidding. Thank you very much, guys.